Terror in Timor, and no help on the way. Civilians are driven from their homeland, robbed and killed, along with the UN people who tried to protect them. Bill Bradley officially launches his challenge to Al Gore for the Democratic presidential nomination. And full-time workers denied full-time benefits. Now they're fighting back.
This is the CBS Evening News. With Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. A student leader in East Timor today warned of a, quote, Holocaust, unless the world can protect the people there from a reign of terror. But so far, the world has done little to stop an orgy of murder, arson, robbery, and forced removal against the people of the small province who voted last week for independence from Indonesia. This is a complicated story involving, among many other things, ancient distrust between Muslims and Christians. CBS's Richard Roth begins our coverage.
The Army says it's restoring the peace in East Timor as its soldiers today were removing the people. The military claims it's a voluntary exodus. Others call it political cleansing, pushing out a population that voted for independence. Indonesia's Navy is sending boatloads from East Timor to other islands. As many as 200,000 people have now left the province, a quarter of the population. But one refugee said it's not a rescue mission the government's running, it's a goodbye operation. With East Timor's capital emptying and with burning and looting all around its besieged headquarters, the UN said it would pull out tomorrow, then delayed its plan. Food and water are almost gone inside the compound where some 2,000 people have taken refuge. If the few hundred UN workers pull out, there's fear for the safety of anyone left behind. British reporter Joanna Jolly is inside the compound.
As soon as we go, if we leave them behind, I just don't know what's going to happen to them.
American journalist Alan Nairn just left the compound today.
The Indonesian army and their militias are setting fire to homes and businesses. They're shooting, doing massive shootings in the streets. It's hell on earth.
But Indonesia today told a UN delegation it wants no foreign help handling the crisis.
I've explained that position now for the umpteenth time. I think during phase 2, we remain to be responsible for security in East Timor.
Demonstrators are making the same point on the streets of Jakarta. Whether as peacekeepers or just witnesses, Indonesia doesn't want foreigners in East Timor. Richard Roth, CBS News, London.
Portugal, the former colonial ruler of East Timor, called today for a UN force to intervene, whether or not Indonesia approves. But no other nation joined that call. And in Washington, top U.S. officials all but ruled out sending U.S. troops. John Roberts has the latest from the White House. John?
Dan, the president just completed a round of phone calls to the Secretary General of the United Nations and the leaders of Britain, Australia, and New Zealand, rallying international pressure on Indonesia to either end the violence in East Timor itself or allow in an international force to do it. But responding to questions about potential U.S. involvement in that force, the Secretary of Defense said today it would not include American troops.
The United States cannot be and should not be viewed as the policeman of the world.
The administration says it would offer logistical support to a possible Australian-led peacekeeping force, perhaps even offering ships as transport. But when asked why the White House would not respond in East Timor the way it did in Kosovo, the National Security Advisor said it was a matter of geography.
This is an Asian country that is going to respond much better to an international peacekeeping force that has very much an Asian domination, an Asian lead to it than to a Western lead.
And it appears increasingly likely that an international force will be needed. The Secretary General of the UN told the Security Council as much, saying the peacekeeping force was ready to go. The task now is to convince Indonesia to allow them in. Dan?
John Roberts at the White House. Republican critics of U.S. Attorney General Janet Reno cranked up the pressure once again today. This came following revelations that the FBI concealed information about its use of flammable tear gas canisters and possibly other flammable materials during the siege of the Branch Davidian compound near Waco, Texas. Janet Reno says, among other things, they concealed it from her. The latest today on this was an outright call for Reno to step down from Senate Republican leader Trent Lott.
Based on the pattern now that has developed over 6.5 years, and the events involving not only the appointment of independent counsels or refusal to provide information or answer questions by the Congress, the problem with the Waco investigation, the situation with the Puerto Rican pardons, all of that leads me to conclude that the Attorney General should resign.
For her part, Attorney General Reno has selected former Republican U.S. Senator John Danforth of Missouri to lead what she says will be an independent reinvestigation into what happened at the Branch Davidian compound. The formal announcement is expected tomorrow. The presidential campaign kicked into a higher gear today. 56-year-old Bill Bradley went home to Missouri to officially declare that he is running for the Democratic presidential nomination. And as CBS's Phil Jones reports, Bradley did so amid new evidence in the early going that, yes, he could, just might, give Al Gore a run for his money.
Welcome home, the next president of the United States, Crystal City's own Bill Bradley.
Bradley's official presidential announcement couldn't have come at a better time. A recent poll in the crucial state of New Hampshire showed Bradley in a dead heat with Vice President Al Gore. Today, Bradley never mentioned the Clinton-Gore White House, but those listening seemed to understand who he was talking about.
I'm more interested in leadership than polls and politics, and I believe we need a new kind of leadership. A leadership that puts the people front and center, not the president.
Bradley has promised to make race relations a major issue, based on what he had learned as a little leaguer back in Missouri.
I can remember walking out of restaurants in the boot heel of Missouri because they wouldn't serve our black catcher. Racism disturbed me then and still angers me now.
He talked about America's soaring economy that he said has still left many behind on issues like health care.
While kings and dictators come to this country for the best health care treatment in the world, you and I both know that this care is not available to the 45 million citizens who have no health insurance at all.
So far, Bradley is playing the presidential game on his terms and having success. He has raised about $12 million without taking big corporate donations. Vice President Gore has raised $20 million, but he's spent a lot more. Today, Bradley didn't have to provide details on major controversial issues. He'll get specific later this fall. Bradley knows that knocking off Al Gore, who enjoys all the advantages of incumbency, remains an uphill battle. Phil Jones, CBS News, Crystal City, Missouri.
Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, the First Lady comes face-to-face with a red-hot Senate campaign issue. Full-time workers fight a huge corporation for benefits denied them. And the latest adventures of Harry Potter, schoolboy and wizard.
Ask your doctor about Viagra.
Have you seen the latest? One-a-day joint health with glucosamine, a unique blend designed to help you maintain flexibility. It's from One-A-Day, and just what you need to feel your best.
If you can do this, you can make wood beautiful with Minwax. And if you can do this, you can give wood lasting protection. Turning a house into a beautiful home is as easy as turning to Minwax.
Hey, this isn't my Accord.
No, but it's a great night for a Century test drive.
What about our Moonlit Drive?
Let's flip a coin. Okay, I'll take shotgun. So, what do you think?
It's kind of stuffy in here.
Well then, Brandy, you'll appreciate the dual climate control, standard traction control, ABS.
Our Accord doesn't have that.
And Accord LX also doesn't have a wife as delicate as a flower.
What?
It doesn't have standard V6 power. What I said there.
And now there's never been a better time to zero in on a Buick with 0% APR GMAC financing or $1,500 cash back on Century.
Isn't this romantic?
It reminds me of your honeymoon.
The political flap over what some regard as Hillary Clinton's flip-flop over clemency for supporters of a Puerto Rican nationalist group linked to violent acts came up today on her latest trip to New York. CBS's Russ Mitchell is tracking the First Lady's positions and the reaction to this latest one.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Today, for the first time, Hillary Clinton met with reporters about the issue that has her catching heat from both opponents and supporters. Over the weekend, she asked the president to withdraw his offer of clemency to 16 jailed members of a Puerto Rican terrorist group.
I stand by what I said on Saturday, but if this process has now moved forward, I'm sure I share the hopes of everyone that this agreement will be abided by, and that the prisoners, when they are released, will, be integrated back into society.
The FALN was responsible for a series of bombings in the 70s and 80s, including this one on Wall Street, although those being released were not the actual bombers. Mrs. Clinton's position is angering prominent members of New York's Puerto Rican community, who feel they should have been consulted by the First Lady.
If people listen to what I'm saying in my community, then I think that she has a problem. But the interesting part is that I'm now listening to what people are saying to me in my community, and they're very upset about her actions.
The First Lady says the convicted terrorists have not shown enough contrition to be released. Political observers say Mrs. Clinton could have avoided this entire mess if she had announced her position weeks ago, when the president first made his offer of clemency.
Campaigns that take aggressive tacks tend to win. She's now on the defensive on something that frankly should never have happened.
12 FALN members have accepted the agreement and could be released by the end of the week. And despite the First Lady's thoughts, the president says he has no plans to change his mind. Russ Mitchell, CBS News, New York.
The death toll doubled in Greece today from the earthquake that rocked Athens yesterday. More bodies than survivors were dragged from the rubble today. Officials say at least 61 people died, more than 2,000 were injured, and many more are homeless. Tens of thousands of Greeks have refused to go back indoors, fearing possible aftershocks and structural damage to their homes. On the CBS Weather Watch, Tropical Storm Floyd formed way out in the Atlantic today. It's the 6th tropical storm of the season. Forecasters expect Floyd to reach hurricane strength by tomorrow and say it could become a major hurricane. For now, Floyd poses no immediate threat to land. Next up on the CBS Evening News, a work-at-home mom mounts a full-time battle to get into business school at Berkeley.
It's surprising who's drinking Ensure. Healthy people. Staying healthy means eating right. But when you can't eat nutritious foods like these, drink Ensure. With essential vitamins and minerals you find in vegetables, calcium like in milk, and protein like in fish, Ensure's a source of complete balanced nutrition. Helps you stay active and energetic. Drink Ensure. And drink to your health. And now there's Ensure High Calcium, with calcium and other key nutrients to help build strong bones.
Love at first sight. What's that based on? Have you ever looked at someone and said, check her out, she looks loyal? Or, whoa, look at the morals on that guy. No, love at first sight is based on something else. Sight. Introducing the all-new 2000 Mitsubishi Eclipse, nicely equipped at 17.7. You'll even love what's on the inside.
Out here, I'm in command. So am I supposed to say, slow down guys, I'm constipated? I don't think so. You try to eat right, sometimes you can't. Harsh chemical laxatives, they can kick in whenever and wherever. Not an option. So I rely on doctor-recommended Metamucil. It's got 100% natural fiber. Works with my body, gently, which is important to a sensitive guy like myself.
Metamucil, the doctor's natural choice for regularity.
Never too early to share in your child's education. Gateway makes a PC with an extra kid-friendly keyboard and learning software for very young minds. Call us and get a Gateway Kid Builder PC with an Intel Celeron processor for just $947.
Boris Yeltsin telephoned President Clinton today. The Russian president denied he was involved in an international money laundering scheme. Russia's chief prosecutor, a man suspended by Yeltsin in March, said this week that Yeltsin and his daughters should be questioned about accusations that they may have received kickbacks from a Swiss construction company. Yeltsin says he is cooperating with the investigation, but insists he has done nothing wrong. On the CBS Market Watch, stock prices closed mixed today. The Dow blue chips closed up 2 points. The tech-heavy NASDAQ lost 28. 20 current and former employees of Bell Atlantic, all black, are suing the phone company. They allege that it retaliates against workers who report discrimination. Could it be that one of the nation's top universities with a reputation for cutting-edge, even radical politics is discriminating against applicants because they're mothers who work at home part-time? CBS's Sandra Hughes has the story of one mom who popped that question in a lawsuit.
It's one of the nation's most competitive business schools where applicants are routinely turned away. But Catherine Zimmerman, a successful computer consultant, says she was rejected from the University of California's MBA program because she was a stay-at-home mom who worked part-time.
I feel like they have basically refused to offer me an opportunity that I believe would make them proud and help my daughters have a very positive future and a role model as a business leader and woman today.
Despite being refused entrance 3 times, Zimmerman still wants to attend the school, so she's suing for admission.
And I want them to recognize that raising children is part of being fully employed.
In her lawsuit, Zimmerman claims she was told by a university admissions employee that, quote, 100% of stay-at-home mothers are rejected from the evening MBA program. According to an annual survey of the nation's leading business schools, only 1/3 of students are female, which puts Berkeley at 38% above the national average. Officials at UC Berkeley wouldn't comment on the lawsuit, but they did admit the admissions policy for some programs at the Haas School of Business requires full-time employment. But business school admission consultants say that working part-time is not a reason to be rejected.
I think the question for the school is not so much is the person working part-time or full-time, or is the person working in their house or in a 10-story office building. More specifically, they're asking, okay, let's look at the total package of this applicant.
Catherine Zimmerman says her package was in line with other students, and the only thing holding her back was motherhood. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Coming up next, CBS's Eye on America. Tonight, full-time workers denied benefits because their employers insist they're not, quote, permanent.
Fortunately for Millie, Dr. Espinoza was in the office early, while someone else was drafting the marketing plan to sell his home. At 11, he was making his rounds, instead of visiting his title company. At 1 p.m., he was giving Pam good news, instead of checking for disclosure documents. And by the time Dr. Espinoza wrote the day's last prescription, someone else was at his home meeting a prospective buyer. You've got a life. We let you live it. We're realtors. Real estate is our life.
5 things to consider about the Chevy Impala. It's new. It starts under $20,000. It's designed, engineered, and built to be carefree. It's at your Chevy dealer now. It's received the highest frontal crash rating possible. 5 stars from the federal government. The new Chevy Impala. As USA Today put it, it's a lot more car than you imagine, at a lower price than you expect. The new Chevy Impala.
Let's go for a drive.
Shannon Sharp, please, has always talking trash.
You're paying, baby!
He's always trying to get inside your head.
Seahorse, you don't know your elbows from your...
And sometimes, he can get downright nasty.
I bet you pay transaction fees on your mutual funds. Your mama pays full commission. You know how to calculate a P/E ratio?
When we created a smarter kind of investment firm,
How diversified is your portfolio?
we created a smarter kind of investor.
You can't even spell Dow Jones. Okay, guys, let's get this right. To calculate a P/E ratio, you divide the stock price.
Aren't there enough reasons in your life to talk to your doctor about Zocor? To learn more about Zocor, ask your doctor. Zocor. Be there.
My business runs on long hours and a leave. I can't settle for those pain relievers that quit too soon. Just 2 Aleve are strong enough to work all day. I used to need 8 Tylenol to do that. There's a tool for every job. For tough pain, it's Aleve.
U.S. unemployment is at a 29-year low. Almost everybody who wants a job has one, so everything's great, right? Not quite. Many are working full-time but getting no benefits because their employers refuse to consider them, quote, permanent. Now, as Wyatt Andrews reports in tonight's Eye on America, this issue is coming to a head in a case that involves tax laws, labor laws, and a lot of money.
Come on, let's go in the house.
For years, Jim Emerson had a 90s kind of job. He worked at Microsoft, one of the world's richest companies. He averaged $60,000 a year, and he edited Cinemania,
Plastics,
the popular CD-ROM software about Hollywood and the movies.
I worked for 3.5 years.
Full-time?
It was full-time. More than full-time. It's Microsoft.
But what was missing from the picture were benefits. He had none. No health insurance, no 401k. At a time when other Microsoft full-timers enjoyed some of the richest benefits and stock options anywhere, Emerson was employed as a freelance contractor.
My predecessor was a full-time employee. There's no way you could say that what I was doing was a temporary job.
Despite that, Microsoft took pains to keep Emerson as a temporary, suggesting after 2 years that he sign up with this temp agency, S&T On Site, he says to maintain the fiction of being freelance. So this was a Microsoft supervisor saying, go sign up with the temp agency.
Right. To do the same job that I'd already been doing for 2 years.
So you're still and Emerson says he wasn't the only full-timer who was signed up as a temp.
Well, everybody knew that it was a scam, that this was Microsoft's way of avoiding paying benefits, of avoiding paying their fair share of Social Security taxes.
I don't think it's actually legal.
You don't think it's legal?
No.
David Stobaugh, Emerson's lawyer, has filed a class action lawsuit against Microsoft, claiming the company mislabeled some 10,000 full-time workers as contingent or non-permanent to save money.
Ordinary, regular workers who used to be part of the regular workforce are now called contingent in order to deny them paying benefits.
Today, those workers have a name, permatemps, and Microsoft is not alone in using them. Permatemps are a growing part of the U.S. workforce, as are charges of abuse. Media giant Time Warner and the oil company Arco also face charges they labeled full-timers as temporaries. Hundreds of other companies, including CBS, have kept permatemps on the books. Microsoft is just the most visible example of a sea change going on in the economy, a conversion from the full-time, full-benefit workforce to a freelance, low-benefit workforce.
The assignments are of such a nature that quite often they're short-term.
Microsoft calls its freelance workforce necessary. Software products are developed and sold so quickly, Chief Operating Officer Bob Herbold argues Microsoft has to have flexibility.
So the ebb and flow of the need for individuals in this industry is very significant.
But what about Jim Emerson's 3.5 years working on the same product?
Well, some assignments end up ending much longer than we originally planned.
But that CD-ROM was around for years.
Well, I'm not going to comment on a specific assignment.
Microsoft says it treats its temps well, that they are highly paid, and that they do receive some benefits through the temp agencies like S&T On Site. Jim Emerson admits that's true, but
that isn't what this lawsuit is about. This lawsuit is about the people who are obviously not temps. People who've been there for years.
So the Microsoft lawsuit asks a 90s kind of question. Is the use of permatemps essential to productivity or an end run around laws that protect workers? In Redmond, Washington, Wyatt Andrews for Eye on America.
Tomorrow night, we'll look at the push to change the system so that workers don't have to depend on any single employer for their benefits. And coming up next on tonight's CBS Evening News, a boy on a broomstick climbing the bestseller list.
My feet are killing me.
Now relieve all kinds of foot pain, even arthritis, with new Podiasin Soak and Massage Gel.
Is Podiasin really different?
Yes, Podiasin is the only medicated gel that works 2 ways. It dissolves in water for instant pain relief, then when pores open, rubs in deeper for long-lasting relief. No ordinary rub or soak works like that.
There's nothing like Podiasin. The pain is gone.
Only Podiasin is specially made to relieve all kinds of foot pain.
I went on chemo.
At the time my oldest daughter was getting married, we had planned everything. The fabric, the design, the whole gown. But when it was time to sew the dress, the chemo, it makes you weak. My whole life I've made clothes for other people, but for my own daughter's wedding, I was too tired to make the dress.
Are you a chemotherapy patient? Ask your doctor about Procrit. Procrit is a natural way to regain red blood cells lost during chemotherapy, and more red blood cells can mean more strength. Procrit is safe and effective. In studies, only diarrhea and edema occurred more often with Procrit than placebo. Procrit is for patients with non-myeloid cancers. Call now and learn how Procrit can help you get back the strength you need. Your strength for living.
In life, you take the bitter with the sweet, but I plan to end up with more sweet.
Ask your doctor about Viagra.
We're closing tonight with a back-to-school book report on Harry Potter. Who's he? The latest in a long line of fictional kids, from Huckleberry Finn to the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew, in this case with a little bit of Superman thrown in. Richard Schlesinger explains why kids are just wild about Harry.
Not since little Annie has an orphan been so lucky.
He could fly on a broomstick, which I thought was pretty cool. He is adventurous, brave, courageous, and nice.
Today, American bookstores started selling the third book about Harry Potter. Even though he's an orphan raised by evil foster parents, life's not all bad for him. He has magical powers and millions of fans.
Harry! Harry!
In Britain, where Harry Potter originated, the release of a new book has to be timed so kids won't skip school to buy it. In this country, the first two books are on the bestseller list. That's almost unheard of for children's stories.
I think I'm enjoying it just as much as my daughter is.
In England, so many adults were reading the books that the publisher brought out a more grown-up version. In his latest adventure, Harry is 13 and still enrolled in the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. He's being pursued by an escaped murderer, and the author hopes her readers are both amazed and amused.
A lot of the humour for me comes from this conflict between this magical, very subversive world and the workaday world, where people simply refuse to see what's right under their noses, which is that there are still wizards living everywhere, but in secret.
He kicked his trunk open, pulled out his wand. What may be most amazing about these books is the magical power they have over kids. They're old-fashioned page-turners. There's nothing high-tech about wizardry, and Harry Potter has no relation to reality, virtual or otherwise. Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, New York.
Virtual or otherwise, that's part of our world tonight. Dan Rather reporting for the CBS Evening News. See you again tomorrow. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
Changing your locks without spending a fortune tomorrow on This Morning. Experience CBS News.